Hi, this is Shana Meyerson with YOGAthletica in Los Angeles, California, here today by popular demand to show you how to do Karandavasana. This is basically a forearm balance crow in full lotus. So it's a whole bunch of things put together. It's a pretty, I would say, an obscure pose, but a lot of people seem to want to know how to do it. So let's start off with a warm-up exercise. So it's actually a fairly easy one. This is a core exercise, and I like this one because the action is actually exactly the same as the action of getting from a Pincha Mayurasana forearm balance into your little tiny, like crowy balance. So you're just gonna come out into like a half boat, Karandavasana, and we're gonna actually pull the knees in as you lift up. So it's just gonna be like this. Because this action, again, is exactly the action of going from, say, vertical to a little tiny balancey pose. So you're gonna do a whole bunch of these, okay? Like do like somewhere between like say 20 and 5,000, depending on how strong your core is, okay? So I'm gonna leave that one up to you. Second warm-up is for your shoulders because this pose is very, very corey and it's very, very shouldery. So therefore, I'm gonna do core and shoulders. Knees and toes, knees and toes. Okay, so we're gonna set up our dolphin position, okay? Obviously, dolphin is the precursor to a Pincha Mayurasana. So my forearms come down, and I have Pincha Mayurasana videos too. If you don't know how to do that one, go back, do the Pincha Mayurasana video, then come back here and do this video. Pretty much, guys, watch all my videos and then come back to this video, and then it will all come together in such a beautiful way. Okay, oh, and watch them many times. Okay, oh, and leave comments and like them too, and subscribe. Okay, now, dolphin. My forearms come down and I want them to be parallel. Remember that there's always gonna be a tendency for the elbows to fall out and the hands to fall in. So we're gonna fight that tendency. Elbows come down, parallel so the middle finger is emanating from the elbow. And I'm gonna come to my dolphin, really emphasizing the movement backwards in the shoulders to really get into that shoulder opening. From here, we're gonna do little dolphin kisses where we basically kiss the ground. And if you don't feel comfortable kissing the ground, just lick it instead. Okay, so, or just pretend. We're gonna go forward. Watch how my shoulders are gonna go way beyond my elbows. Kiss. And back. And if that's easy for you, certainly you can close off your stance a little bit. Forward, kiss, and back. Maybe you shorten it again. Forward, kiss, and back. Okay? I'm gonna do like, let's say 5 to 20 of those. And when I say 5 to 20, let's say you say, oh, I want to do 20 because you're such a superstar, but it's like really, really hard. You could do 4 sets of 5, or 5 sets of 4, or 2 sets of 10, or 10 sets of 2, or 1 set of 20, or you could do the math. You could do 3, and then 7, and then 10, or you know what I mean? So don't feel like you have to do them all at once, but this is a great shoulder opener because this pose is very shouldery, and as previously mentioned, it's very corey. Now, third element we're going to work on is what does it feel like to balance really, really close to the ground, okay? Because normally our arm balances are not like an inch off the floor, but this pose is pretty darn close. So we're going to start off with a practice balance. I call this baby crow. It's the world's smallest, cutest crow that isn't really a crow because it's a person, but imagine a crow pose. I come to my tippy toes. My forearms parallel, look how high my knees are in my armpits. I look forward, and so it's sort of like that dolphin kiss, but I'm not going to kiss the floor, I'm going to keep looking forward. And I just lean into this with my knees squeezing into my arms, lifting my feet, and you'll see I don't get a lot of height on this one, but I do have a nice stable balance. Okay? You definitely want to be able to do this one before you move on because you have to have this stability in your shoulders more than anything before you move on to the harder variations. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to try to get from Pincha Mayurasana, which is our forearm balance, into Baby Bakasana, baby crow, okay? Not its real technical name, but let's call it that anyway. So, if you don't know how to Pincha Mayurasana, guess what? I have a video for that. Check it out. I actually have 2 videos for that. Okay, so assuming you watch my videos over and over and over again, and now you're so good at Pincha Mayurasana, here's where we go. Arms stay parallel. Middle fingers are facing straight forward. I lift up into my dolphin, walk in, kick up. Now, we're not going to go into full pose right now. Instead, we're going to practice getting into a little tiny mini Bakasana, just like we just did, but we're going to do it from upside down this time. My knees pull in, and you'll notice my hips are going to compensate backwards a little bit. Now, as my knees pull in, this is going to get very heavy, very fast on the way down. So my knees pull in, I go forward with my chest to see if I can, balance in my little tiny baby crow again. Now you see I'm so close to the floor, which means 2 things. 1, very little margin for error. But 2, very little distance to fall. So if you fall, you're falling like this far, and you're probably going to be okay. And if you fall, most likely you're going to fall on your butt, not on your face, because most people are too scared to go forward enough that they fall on their face. So they just fall on their butt. And as you know, this is why God padded our butts. So don't stress out about falling. But remember that on the way down, you have to be super incredibly mindful. And don't give up the work of the pose until your legs are actually touching your arms, okay? Not like an inch away from your arms, not a foot away from your arms, but when your legs are actually touching your arms, then you know you've arrived, then you can relax. But until that point, we work, okay? So, now, we're gonna go do the same exact thing, but we're gonna do it with our legs in full lotus. Now you have to be able to do full lotus, of course, to do this, and guess what? I have a video for that. I suggest, might want to go to the handstand to Urdhva video, because it goes over not only how to get into the full lotus, but how to come down from a handstand into the Urdhva, which is that lotus crowy type of a pose. I find that one a little bit easier than the forearm variation because it's not as rough on the shoulders, okay? This one is a little challenging on the shoulders. That's a nice way to put it. So, we're gonna move on. Just remember this, if you can do a lotus sitting down, like boop, boop, just know if you're doing that and going, well, I can't do it without my hands, know that it's actually easier to do it when your hip is straight as opposed to bent. And doing it upside down, I think, even though you don't have hands, is actually sort of easier on the legs than doing it in like a city pose. So, that being said, let's try it. Can't hurt, can it? I mean, it can. It can actually really hurt. Okay, so forearms come down. Make sure my forearms stay parallel. Hands don't collapse in, elbows don't collapse out. Dolphin pose. I step in to lift up into my Pincha Mayurasana. I take the leg that I favor, and for me, my right leg, fold it down, way down by my hip. The knee presses back, the top knee presses back to allow the second leg in, and notice how I wiggle that leg in, because I want sort of the tightest lotus I can get for this one to work. From here, notice that my shoulders are going to go way forward as I come down. This is almost more about going forward than it is about going in. Here comes the plane. The knees start to come down. I'm squeezing my knees in towards each other. My gaze goes forward, and I go way forward into it. Look how low I am. Okay? My legs from there I can actually take back into that little tiny baby crow and onto my toes for an easy dismount. When I'm coming in, my elbows are pressing like crazy and they're sort of pulling inwards. On this one, you want to feel like everything is pulling towards center. Your knees are pulling towards center, your elbows are pulling in. But everything is working really, really hard and really, really mindfully in this pose. I have to be honest, it took me quite a while to get this one done. There were a few butt bruises in the process, but it all worked out in the end. I hope that if this is challenging for you, you stick with it. You never know which day you're gonna wake up just able to do this stuff. This is Shana Meyerson with YOGAthletica in Los Angeles, California, wishing you an awesome day.